Shema Israel. I hope you enjoy this next study. My name's Dee. This is my wife, Millie.
So if you like what you see, subscribe and hit the notification bell. And if you wish to reach out to us, you can email us at devotedtoyah@gmail.com.
Okay, shalom, everyone. We are going to be going over Matthew chapter 12, verses 9 to 14. It's about Yahusha healing on the Sabbath. So we're going to go through a lot of scriptures on that. Here we go. Just put this maybe down there. All right. Matthew chapter 12, verse 9, it says, "Now when he had departed from there, he went into their synagogue, and behold, there was a man who had a withered hand. And they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? That they might accuse him. Then he said to them, What man is there among you who has one sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not lay hold of it and lift it out? Of how much more value then is a man than a sheep? Therefore, it is lawful to do good on the Sabbath." Then he said to the man, Stretch out your hand. And he stretched out his hand, and it was restored as whole as the other. Then the Pharisees went out and plotted against him, how they might destroy him. So what I wanted to do today is just surface level look at this passage of scripture. We're going to cross-reference this with the same account, the same story in the different gospel letters. So I kind of did something different today. I made columns so you can kind of see if you catch anything different between the different accounts of the story. But right off the bat, first things first, Yahusha went into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. There's another passage of scripture. I don't have it here, but it says that as was his custom. So Yahusha was a Sabbath keeper. He kept the Sabbath day. He kept it because it was part of the law, and for him to be a sinless, perfect sacrifice, without sin, without blemish, as the apostles say in the other epistles, he had to observe the Sabbath, and that's what he did. But what we're dealing with here is in verse 10. Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath? So now we're dealing with different laws. I came across, I just did a quick Google search. I'm not going to go through this, but I did a quick Google search on Talmud doctors on the Sabbath. And one of the first things that popped up on this website, www.yu.edu, Jewish medical ethics. There's a whole PDF file on the physician on the Sabbath, and it's very interesting. And I imagine that there are different versions of interpretations of what physicians are allowed to and not allowed to do on the Sabbath day within Judaism. But I'm not going to go into that. I just showed you real quick what I did. If that's a topic of interest for you, I'm just going to keep it simple. During the times of Yahusha, by the time Yahusha was on the planet as a man walking on the planet, there were Israel was filled with doctrines and traditions of men, which is called the oral traditions of the rabbis. Right now, we have the Talmud, or not we, the Jewish people or Jews have the Talmud, which they are teachings of the rabbis that are in libraries. There are books. And so these are one of them. This is one of those topics. on what is actually permissible and what's not permissible on the Sabbath day. Many times you will not find what these Talmudic books are requiring of you. You won't find justification for it in Scripture. So there's a distinction between what Scripture says and what Talmud says. So this assembly, we do not use the Talmud. We do not glean from the Talmud. I, as the leader here, as a shepherd here, I'm not interested. Uh, but this is what we're dealing with. The Pharisees are questioning him, or whoever at this point. Yeah, the Pharisees are asking, is it lawful on the Sabbath day uh, to heal? And what was their intention? It says right there that they might accuse him. So their whole intention is they don't care about the man with the withered hand. They just care about catching Yahusha and giving a reason to slander him and falsely accuse him. So that's what we're dealing with here. It's very simple. You will not find anything in the Old Testament that says you're not allowed to heal on the Sabbath. So any Christian that tries to use this, because I've debated a guy on the question of whether or not Christians or believers should follow the law of Moses, observe the law of Moses. There are Christians that actually believe that Yahusha, the Messiah, who they call Jesus, they believe that he broke the Sabbath day. Even John MacArthur, okay, well-known Reformed Calvinist type preacher, well-known, preaches that Yahusha broke the Sabbath day, and that's just heresy, because Yahusha would then be a sinner, and he would not be a sinless, perfect sacrifice. But anyway, that's what we're dealing with here. Yahusha simply says, "What man is there among you who has a sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not lay hold of it and lift it out?" I believe there's a cross reference in the Old Testament regarding this topic, and I'm going to find it real quick. Okay, here it is. I'm using the Treasury of Scripture Knowledge website, tsk-online.com. It's a very good resource for cross references. So right here, and if it fall into a pit on the Sabbath day, here are some cross references surrounding this topic. Exodus chapter 23, verse 4 and 5. It says, "If thou meet thine enemy's ox," look at that. We're even talking about an enemy, somebody who you're not at good terms with. "If thou meet thy enemy's ox or an ass, a donkey, going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again. If thou see the donkey of him that hateth thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help him." All right, I'm going to look these up real quick in the translation I prefer. Okay. It says, "If you see the donkey of one who hates you lying under its burden, and you would refrain from helping it, you shall surely help him with it." All right, this question.
All right. So my question would be for this one in Exodus, wouldn't it then technically be a sin if they actually had a donkey being burdened on Shabbat anyway? Like they're not supposed to have your donkeys or animals working. So wouldn't that automatically be the person that's doing that in sin?
Yes, absolutely. I take this scripture as I'm really focusing on if you meet your enemy's ox or donkey going astray, you shall surely bring it back to him again. Lying under its burden. Lying under its burden. So the donkey is carrying stuff, right? That's what you're bringing up. Yeah, I'm not really talking about that point. Definitely the man who's making his donkey work. Now again, we would this is a topic that's going to come up as we read more of these scriptures is, what's the intention of this donkey carrying a burden? Are they trying to do something to help somebody's life? Is somebody's life at risk? I think after we finish reading all of these stories regarding Yahusha and what he's done on the Sabbath day, we will even look at a situation like this and try not to be so dogmatic and not look at the circumstance of a situation. I don't know. I can't come up with an idea right now, but I'm just, what if we have a human being that's stuck in a ditch, and we have an animal that we can tie to rope and get a person to hold on to the rope and get the animal to pull? That's an example of, my opinion, having an animal working and humans working to save a life. That's just an example. But yes, nonetheless, if a guy is having a donkey carrying whatever, doing what they normally do and carrying from one place to another, it's not an emergency situation. Absolutely, that is breaking the Sabbath, because you're not supposed to make your donkeys work. You're not supposed to make your animals work on the Sabbath day. But that's one of the cross references. The other one is Deuteronomy 22, verse 4. You shall not see your brother's donkey or his ox fall down along the road, and hide yourselves from them. You shall surely help him lift them up again. So these passages don't mention, if you look up the whole chapter, various laws, okay, moral laws here. There's nothing here that says you're not allowed to do this on the Sabbath. The Sabbath isn't even mentioned in this chapter. Okay, so when you have the Talmud or oral traditions of the Pharisees adding onto the scriptures, which is a sin in and of itself to add to and take away. But here it says, help your brothers. Help your brothers. It doesn't say except on the Sabbath days. It doesn't say that. It says help your brothers. So if your brother is in need of help, if his sheep is going astray, or is stuck in a ditch, like Yahusha said, right? Because that's what he brought up. What man is there among you who has a sheep, and if it falls into a pit on the Sabbath, will not lay hold of it and lift it out? Just leave it in there. He'll be all right. He's fed. He's got food. We'll come back at night to help this animal out. We don't want to break the Sabbath. That's the mentality of the Pharisees, of these dogmatic uh, uh, doctrines and traditions of men infested leaders. Okay, that's their mentality. Their heart isn't for, let's help somebody. Somebody's in danger. Somebody needs help. I will real quickly sacrifice, my rest to help somebody out real quick, and then I'll go back to resting. Okay, it's not like this is going to require my entire day to be taken. All right, this is a moment. So that's the first thing I wanted to do, cross-reference to the Old Testament, that there's nothing that says we're not allowed to help anyone on the Sabbath. Matter of fact, there are tons of scriptures that talks about helping your neighbor, helping your enemies as well.